Yes, type number 2 is what we call a shared server. You know, a shared server leads us into what we call shared web hosting. So what do we do under shared web hosting or shared servers? We have one server, but it can serve very many websites or very many websites of different individuals and different companies. Because, you know, not every individual or not every organization has the ability and the amount of money or the expenses that are necessary or that are required to have its own server. You know, it is a bit costly to have your own server serving only your things. And actually, in maybe Uganda, the only things that there are a few companies that have their own servers. For example, we expect companies like Nira to have their own servers. You know, we can't have a shared server with Nira because it stores very sensitive information. But now you are a one farm, maybe a school, you don't have enough money to own your own server. It is better, or when you go into web hosting, what we basically do is to give you some space on someone's server. We help you. We do what we call shared web hosting, that we have different websites hosted onto the same server. Yeah, this is cost effective. It is actually very nice. It is cost effective. So in case you don't have enough money, what we do for you is just web or shared web hosting. Right, so those are the types of servers. I thought it wise to take you through the types of servers such that you know, in case you have enough money and you have maybe your own farm, you want to do your own web hosting, you can have your own dedicated server. If not, you can have a shared server. All right, so now I'm taking you through something little called a uniform resource locator, URL. Some of you may have heard about this, but I would wish to go through it again because all this is part. So what do you get when you do web hosting? When you do web hosting, you simply get what we call a URL, a uniform resource locator. A uniform resource locator is like an address to a web page. It is an address to a page. You know, addresses, everyone, every home must have an address. Just the direction that takes you to that home, that is an address. Now we are saying a URL is an address to a web page because the web, what you call the web, has quite a number of websites and web pages. You know, a website, we shall discuss them in the times used under websites, but you know, it has very many web pages hosted on it, the web. So each and every web page must have its own unique address that distinguishes it from the other. And that is why different people can access different web pages all at the same time. And different people can access the same web page at the same time. It is all because of this URL, that each and every web page has its own web address. This URL has around three parts. One is the HTTP or the protocol. Here we have maybe HTTPs, yeah, then full colon and forward slashes, two of them. That is the protocol. Then we have the website domain name and you have the top level domain name. Those are the basic three parts of the URL. Some others come as subfolders, wati. Those ones we shall discuss more, or we shall look at them maybe later. But these are the basic three. Any URL must have a protocol, it must have the website domain name, and then a top level domain. Yeah, so let us discuss domains in detail because not everyone is very familiar with domains. Let us discuss them in detail. A domain refers to a distinct subset of the internet which addresses usually under with addresses usually under the control of a particular organization or an individual. What do I mean? For example, maybe my company is Lorry. Yeah, I have maybe my domain of www.lorry.com. Then I can, on that same domain, I can have maybe www.ifo.lorry.com. Maybe I can have www.clients.lorry.com, www.sp.lorry.com. You see, all those share an individual's name. Like, they are all under my organization, that Lorry, but then on my same domain, like it is a group of the different internet addresses. You see, So that is what we call a domain. A domain is that main set that has in it very many addresses. It can have one or it can have very many addresses of but all must be related or must be under the control of a particular organization or an individual. Then a domain name is just a subset of a domain. Yeah, like we have said, a domain is the basic set, but then a domain name is a subset of a domain. And we say this one serves as the user-friendly address people use to access a website. For example, if you access my website, maybe www.lorrycomputercenter.com, Lorry Computer Center is my domain name. You see, it is friendly to you that if I tell you, you want to visit my website, okay, go to Lorry Computer Center. That one is enough. It is actually understandable and it is easy for you to cram in your head such that anytime you access your device, you can check on my website. That is the use of a domain name basically. What appears between the www dot and the .com or .org or .eu or .edu, .sc, .wat, whatever may appear within there is actually what we call the domain name. Alright, so that is basically domain name. We have types of domains used in web hosting. It is good for you to understand them. This one will help you a bit. Yeah, in web hosting, we use around 3 types of domain names, which may include, one is the top level domain. Top level domain is the highest in rank. You see, top level domain, you see in my writings, I say top level domain is just that those kind of letters, the prefixes or the suffixes that actually tell us the purpose of the host. Yeah, the purpose. That is what some definition that I find easier. It tells us the purpose of the host. That you see, if you find .com, yeah, .com is an example of a top level domain. .com, then we are simply talking about commercial site. .org, it is just a non-profitable organization that is just trying to work on something, maybe .mil for the military, .gov for the government, .sc for an academic site, .edu for an educational site, and many more. Those are the top level domains. Their main use is to simply tell us the purpose of the host. So when you go into web hosting, it is very important that you know the top level domains and their uses. Yeah, you may be a non-government or a non-profitable organization, and then you go and ask for .com. You know, it is better you ask for .org, such that people may even know well what your website is all about. Yeah, then we have the second level domains. The second level domains actually follow the top level domain to the left. Yeah, to the left. This is basically what I mean. I mean, okay, let me just give you an example somewhere briefly here. Let me just try an example. For example, if I have something like www.lorry.com. Yeah, I have www.lorry.com. Like, this is just a URL, an address to my web page or my website. But now, www and maybe some other things that may follow before, you see, .com comes as my top level domain. This .com is the top level domain, showing that my site is a commercial site. .com. Then what appears between here is actually what we call the second level domain. Maybe I have Lorry. Yeah, Lorry is my second level domain, www.lorry.com. Then you see it immediately follows the top level domain to the left. That is basically what we call the second level domain. And you know, in our URL, what separates so much the top level domain and then the second level domain and maybe the subdomain is basically these full stops here. They are the ones that usually separate, though sometimes they may not work so much, but they're the ones that usually separate. So that is top level domain and second level domain. Then I may go and buy a domain, that www.lorry.com. That is my domain that I've registered. But then on my domain, I may wish to create some other subdomains. What do I mean? If I create a subdomain on my domain, it means those firms will not need to go into the hosting and buying or registration of domains, but rather they will be borrowing space from my registered domain and my hosted website. So how do I do that? Usually when you want to create subdomains, then you must add a few letters before your second level domain. For example, if I want to create for some firm, I can say www.sk.lorry.com. sk is an example of a subdomain that I've created on lorry.com. I can say www.wd.lorry.com. So that is a sub-level domain or a subdomain. So you must be very conversant, you must be very okay with domains. You must be able to deal with domains, and that is basically what we have when we come to the types of domains in web hosting. Alright, we are almost reaching the end of our video, and in this video I'd like to tell you some of the factors that you should consider before choosing a web hosting partner or a firm. One thing you should note that in web hosting, the domain is registered differently from the hosting, and that is why sometimes when you go to a firm, for them they will charge you at once. They will charge you for registering a domain for you, and also charge you for hosting or giving you space and whatever. So what are some of the factors that I should consider? One, I should consider the bandwidth and disk space that the firm can provide. Bandwidth is like the kind of data, the amount of data that can be transmitted by the server of that firm. So you must always choose a partner with a higher bandwidth, and you must always choose a partner that provides maybe more disk space. That is basically what we look at. Then uptime and reliability, always choose a partner that is a bit reliable. You know, you don't need to choose a partner that has served for maybe just 2 weeks, that has served for, you know, sometimes it is not healthy to choose such. You may choose, you host your website, and then just within a few minutes, maybe a few weeks, they tell you, oh, you know, now our farm has closed. So you must always look for a web hosting partner that is very reliable. A web hosting partner that is very reliable and can really provide for you what you really need. Then the server location. You see, it is better that if you are in a country, you use servers that are very close to your target market. For example, some of us don't have firms, or some of you may not be designing for clients who are really targeting the international market. Some of them may be targeting this local market, the Ugandan market, Kenyan market, Tanzanian market. You understand? So it is better use servers that are from within the country. Maybe if you're in Uganda, use servers that are in Uganda. If you're in Kenya, use servers that are in Kenya. It will save you the loading time. It will make loading quite faster. It is better you use firms that are quite close. Then security features. Try to choose a partner that is secure. That has maybe some good security when it comes to data, some good security when it comes to keeping your files. It should be both physical security and cyber security. It should be both the security physically. We don't need to host our website and then tomorrow we come and you tell us the server was stolen. No, we want someone who is really secure. Then scalability. Scalability, we are basically talking about a firm or a hosting partner that can easily provide for scalable factors. Like, what do I mean? In case maybe your website has expanded and you wish to get more space, because you see, when you're hosting, you choose space. You say, maybe I want to start with a plan of maybe 1 GB. I want to start with a plan of just 5 GB. So it should be able to provide for more space in case you reach a time and you be like, I chose 1 GB when I was starting and my year has not yet ended, but then I feel like I need more space. Just charge me something little, or just charge me some amount and you add the space without necessarily disconnecting my website. So scalability is also key. Then support. Always choose a partner. Actually, in whatever we do, we should always choose things and companies. We should always work with firms, we should always work with individuals that are very supportive. Have customer care, like have that supportive thing. Like they should be able to support you. Then we're looking at the control panel. Control panel is a bit advanced, but every firm or every hosting partner has their own control panel that they use. This control panel is where you go for you to upload your files, for you to create subdomains, for you to, all that is a bit technical, but that is the control panel. So always choose a host or a hosting partner with an easier to deal with control panel. The control panel must be a bit easier. You really don't need to deal with a control panel that is very, very complex, and you understand. Then lastly, we shall have cost. Yeah, cost is something that is very important in almost everything we do. So as a firm, as an individual, always choose a relatively cheaper though good. It must be cheap but good. Different firms provide the same services, but some of them have high prices and some others have lower. So always go for the lower, because we are always looking at cost efficiency. We always want things that are very cheap but okay, because that is how we make profits. All right, thank you for being with me in this video. Yeah, it has been quite long. Yeah, it has been a long one, but I believe you have learned a lot about web hosting. Go into research, try making more research about web hosting, and try really to choose wisely. Read more about it, read literature, and all will be good. All right, meet you in our next video as we introduce the concepts and the terms that we use in web designing. Thank you. Ta-dam.